So, as everyone knows by now, Sum 41 is disbanding later this year. And I was going through a rabbit hole of Sum 41 information, and I just found this article by Revolver Magazine, shout out to them, about the time that Sum 41 asked Slayer's guitarist Kerry King to participate in one of their songs. So, as the article says, Kerry King has always been very selective about the songs he lays down licks on, and apparently he rejected the song What We're All About by Sum 41 10 times. So the song was released in 2002 for the soundtrack of Spider-Man. That soundtrack also had Nickelback, not Nickelback, but it was the lead singer from Nickelback, Chad Kroger, Josie Scott from Saliva, among others. Just like it's mentioned here in the article, Kerry King rejected the track 10 times. So this was all revealed in an interview with Metal Hammer, the UK based magazine. And King revealed that Sum 41 um, should, accepting the Sum 41 guitar solo was a career choice, not a creative one. So whatever this means. He also compares the acceptance of this opportunity to something that he also did back in 1987 when he played with the Beastie Boys on the track No Sleep Till Brooklyn. Seems like King is not really happy with those decisions 20 years down the road. So this was in 2002. This interview was in the beginning of this year. Kerry King said the following: "Well, there's a whole lot to say there. It was my record label that wanted me to do it. I turned it down 10 times." So, what he's saying between the lines is that Sum 41 was a huge band back then. Sum 41, in 2002, they were riding the success of All Killer, No Filler, if I remember correctly. Into Deep was a major hit on MTV and on the radio. Fat Lip, all those tracks were classics back then. And apparently, Kerry King says that he was pressured by the label to play on these tracks so he could give his band some visibility. A friend of mine at the label, so at Kerry King's label, came to me at an angle that I just couldn't argue with. He was like, "Well, you played on the Beastie Boys record." Kerry King reacted, "He's got a point. That was my epiphany." So it was like, yeah, you played on the Beastie Boys, which was a rap rock group back in the 80s. So now, why won't you play? Why wouldn't you play with Sum 41, which is a huge band right now? And this is apparently the reason that why Kerry King accepted it. I bet the money was good. That was before we put ourselves back on the map. King continued referring Slayer's transitional period amid the turn of the century nu metal boom. So, yeah, this was back then, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when bands like Slayer were pretty much eclipsed by nu metal acts like Korn, Limp Bizkit, and then pop punk bands like Sum 41, Blink 182, and all of those guys were actually enjoying a lot of success as well, and Slayer not so much. And Sum 41 were fun and they were popping. So yeah, I played on the Beastie Boys record and I played on the Sum 41 records. I mean, I think this is one of those things that hurts metal and rock music. No collaborations at all between talented musicians. If anything, this collaboration was awesome back then. I think a lot of people, young people, were introduced to Slayer and Kerry King this way. So I don't see what's the issue here. I mean, those weren't choices for me. Those were just career choices I made. Some people may agree with them and some people may not. Seems like Kerry King is not particularly proud about this. It's a very average track, in my opinion. Sum 41 has done way better than this. This feels a bit forced. It feels like a rap rock / punk mix to fit in that era. And the solo by Kerry King feels forced, doesn't feel natural at all. But at the end of the day, I think the ultimate goal of songs like these was to get more people into the genre. It had a lot of visibility because it was on a soundtrack from a movie back then, a blockbuster. And yeah, still to this day, people remember this track. Still to this day, people remember about Sum 41 with Kerry Kings.